Cheers, mate. Now, everyone, just because it's the last session of the day doesn't mean it's not off session today. I'm watching all of you. Anyone goes to sleep, you're out. And what I'm going to be talking about today is the Subnautica feedback system. And before we get into it, there's two things I want to do. The first is, if you're looking at these slides and you think, I want that slide, or I want that information, I want that code snippet, etc., you'll get a link at the end of the presentation to get it all. So you don't need to, I've done it, everybody's tried it, take a picture with your phone, it just doesn't work. All right, so to start, I'm going to provoke your noggins with a question, which is, how do we communicate with our customers? How do we communicate with our players? How do we have a conversation with them? Now, I don't have time. I'll get kicked off the stage to actually ask the question of you and get your answers, but I hypothesise that there'll be a Twitter, a Facebook, a mailing list, etc. These are all great tools for doing great stuff in game development, but for most of them, the operative word is talk to. There are followers, and we talk to them. And I'm interested in this presentation about how we can talk with them. So, Subnautica, what the hell is that? Subnautica is an underwater adventure game. It's currently in Steam Early Access. It's doing okay. It's got 95% positive Steam reviews, and it's selling enough copies to feed, electrocute, clothe 19 full-time developers. Now, the Subnautica feedback system, which we're going to look at in this presentation, is an interface that animates in from the left side of the screen while you're playing Subnautica and allows you to give qualitative and quantitative feedback as a player of this game. So you could give it some text feedback, you could tell us whether whether it's a bug, maybe it's a frame rate issue, and the system will automatically report your system specs. It's very open about doing that. It will automatically capture a screenshot which you can choose to either include or not include. So it animates, and it generally tries to make a bit of theatre. It makes the screen go black and white. It freezes the game. So it's a bit of theatre when this thing pops up on screen after being requested by the player. And anyone that's gone through London Heathrow Airport a few times and been felt up by the security there might recognise where we got the idea for these little heads to say whether you're happy, sad, angry, or very happy. And to submit the feedback, you have to click one of those. And that's a very important point. And the other piece of inspiration is important because it's all the rage to talk about Half-Life 2 during this GDC. For the record, I think no announcement on Wednesday. Sorry, guys. But I remember there was an Alt F4 feedback system in Half-Life 2 at some point. Maybe one of you will tell me I'm wrong, and I'm sure you've got other examples of feedback systems in games. But what makes this one a little bit unique is this. And this doesn't look anywhere near as exciting, but I assure you it's much more exciting than what you saw in the game. This is a public interface that our players and you can visit. It's at subnautica.underworlds.com and allows anyone, the public, to download all the data collected by this feedback system. It's at our Subnautica backend, which houses other interesting stuff like all our telemetry data and basically what each of us is doing every day. So if you'd like to have a look at that, it can be quite fun. Just don't look at what I'm doing. And this interface, which was built by my colleague Lucas Nowacek, allows you to filter, download certain elements of the feedback. It's basically a nice way for players to prove that they're smarter than us. And if you've developed a few games, you'll know by now that they are. The internet is much smarter than us, and players are. And this system allows them to use our data to tell us what we're doing wrong, or occasionally what we're doing right, which is nice. And to demonstrate a couple of ways in which this feedback system can help us make better development decisions and hopefully do things that make customers happy, this is a map of Subnautica's game world. It's 16 square kilometres, so it's a very sizable game world. It's not a Skyrim, but it is very, very big in real-world units, and it's an underwater, and it's also got verticality. So there's a lot of space in this game world, and we want to know what's going on inside it, and we can't just swim around in it and look, oh, that piece of the world looks a bit bad, we better fix that up, because we'll never be able to do it. We won't have enough time. There's no way. But our players, they are very capable of doing this. They can swim around and give us feedback. And another thing they can do is tell us if they're happy. So here's an example, just a really simple analysis of the feedback data that we get. This is every spot in the game world since the system was launched where someone has said, I'm very happy. Now, naturally, because players will randomly start within a 200 by 200 metre zone, we get a bit of a normal distribution happening, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the middle. And that's okay, that's to be expected. But you'll also notice, just by looking at it, many of you have probably picked this up already, there's something a little bit interesting going on in the top right. What is that? Why is there a cluster shooting off if they're all randomly coming in the same area? Why is there a cluster shooting off there? If they're all really happy up there, maybe we're doing something good. Maybe this is something we could do more of. So let's go into the game world and look at what is making people really happy. I'm not sure what's making people really happy up there. Maybe there's free copies of the game, but it does appear that there's a bit of a valley going on the sea floor, like that might be guiding people towards a certain place. And once they get out of that valley, they're in a place called Grassy Plateaus. This is likely to be the first time they've seen this biome, which is what we call the different areas of the world. And that might be making them happy because it's something new. It's exciting. There's new creatures. Cool. Idea. We could introduce players to more zones and that will make them happier. You can see where I'm going with this. Let's do another example of the Subnautica feedback system being very useful. We have a graph from the 1st of November to yesterday. I mean, these blokes all finished their presentations 2 weeks ago. Me, I was looking at it yesterday. So we've got data all the way up till then, and you can see it's a cumulative percentages of happy, very happy, unhappy, and really pissed off and going to ask for a refund. How many people are there doing that? Well, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But what happened in mid-December? What did we do? Why did people suddenly start saying they were really happy with us? What is going on here? And let's do more of it. And the answer is we released a really comprehensive update. It fixed a lot of things, it did a lot of things, and it actually coincided with us launching on early access, which is a useful piece of information because if we'd launched on early access without doing that comprehensive update, and that certainly was an option because updates are really hard to do, we can't release them all the time, we would have released with much less happy, we would have had much less happy customers, we might have had much less happy Steam reviews, and all of us know that that's not a good thing to happen on Steam Early Access. So that's some retrospective way in which we can use this data to think, well, okay, next time we're going to do an update, or these updates do make people happier, perhaps some of our subsequent ones haven't been as exciting. There was a spike when we did one more in late February. For something cool. So that's a second example of using this system. Oh, I had an arrow and I didn't even use it. I didn't even need it. It's amazing. Now, I'm not quite finished, but there's my contact dealers and my colleague Lucas. Now, I did the front end in the game, but he did the amazing ninja work on our web back end to make this all publicly available, make it reliable, mean that people can be pulling 100 megabytes of data and not crushing all the servers that do all the other stuff for us. So get in contact with him at elnoachek on Twitter and talk to him about it. And that link, which you may want to take a photo of, you know, even though I was teasing you about not doing that, contains code snippets and other material. It includes all these slides and useful links. And those code snippets, I'd like to talk about that now. We're not offering the whole system to you as just, here's a box that's got a tool in it, go and use it, because it's all a bit esoteric to Subnautica and it probably wouldn't fit your particular circumstances. I mean, a lot of it's for Unity, and you're not all going to be using Unity, but it will provide you with examples. For example, well, how do the Subnautica guys get people's frame rates? You know, instead of spending, well, I imagine for you guys 30 seconds thinking about it, you could just copy it in 5 seconds, so that's good. And there's various other snippets like that. So go there if you're interested in it, and you can see all the back-end stuff, and hopefully help you do something like this a little faster than you otherwise would have. And to come back to what I started on, of having that two-way conversation, through using this system with Subnautica, we've allowed ourselves as a developer to become the follower. Instead of a customer being a Twitter follower to us and telling us that something's, you fix that bug, they can all scream at us on a forum in a place where we are only the follower. We have no capacity to talk back at them with this system. And that's empowering for people, because often when you release a game on a platform and maybe something's not so great, people they want to let it out. They want to let it, something goes wrong, they want to tell someone about it, and if they can't tell you, they're probably going to scream about it somewhere else. And there's two problems with that. The first is you don't get that really valuable information. It is really valuable to know when something's gone wrong. And the second problem is other people see people screaming about your game instead of enjoying it. So, everyone, that has been the Subnautica feedback system. My name's Hugh Jeremy, and it's been a pleasure to introduce it to you. If you'd like to have a two-way conversation with me, instead of me talking to you, let's do that outside afterwards. Thank you.